But it would be funny if the end of this series features like little Leia squaring off with Vader and then saying like, "No, Anakin, I am your daughter." Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt, the Dork Lords. We're here talking about Obi Wan Kenobi, Season 1, Episode 3, Part 3. We open with Obi-Wan still reeling from the knowledge that Anakin's alive, trying unsuccessfully to reach out to Qui-Gon Jinn. It's coming! Just check it. There's going to be a Liam Neeson cameo before the end of the season. Simultaneously, we see the painful, laborious process of Vader suiting up back on Mustafar, which was also where Obi-Wan left him for dead. He built his castle on that site, basically. And now that he's got a lead on Obi-Wan's whereabouts, he basically wants to be ready. Ready for action. We end with Obi-Wan being temporarily saved from Vader by Tala, played by the actress from Game of Thrones. But across town, Reva is caught up with Leia. Credits. Paul?
Yes?
What did you think of Episode 3?
I liked it. I did. It's funny, though. I feel like a lot of it comes down to the battle between Vader and Ben. And I feel that was necessary. And I feel like, they did a good job of, like, having it mean something. This is his chance for revenge. And it really seems like Ben... this should be Ben's end. So I sort of feel 50-50 about, it makes sense to me, like, okay, now I want to torture you. So I'm going to create this situation.
You're talking about the ending, I have a feeling. Yeah.
Go ahead. Create this situation where, I'm going to torture you, and then somebody else could use it to, help him escape. And it's sort of like, okay... I guess
that was if I were to I really enjoyed this episode as well. There's a lot to like about it, and we'll talk about that. But since you brought it up, one of the things that's a little like, that's a questionable choice, is that ending. I felt the same way, where it's like, wait, that thing where he's dragging Obi-Wan through the fire to like replicate what happened to him, like, woo, that's pretty dark. So he's doing that. Then, notably, he extinguishes the flames with the Force. Yeah. So he's like, all right. Then the flames come back, like, literally seconds later, and he leaves. So you're like, wait, what? Like, the reality you just established that he can, like, just, get rid of the flames at will has now suddenly is not true. So you're right. I think the only explanation that works at all is not, fire, well, we're done. What? is that he's like, I want him to suffer, and so we'll let him think he's escaping so that I can then crush his hopes again, I guess, right? Because he hasn't really left the planet at this point. He's literally like 20 yards away, I guess. I don't know. He's not that far away. Right. So it's like, all right, fine. Round one,
so he's toying, back to your corner. With his food, the way that people imagined him toying with Kenobi years later.
Well, and he does say something like, because he does extinguish the flames, and he says something like, "This is just the beginning of your pain," or something like that, where he's basically saying, "Yep, this is just I'm gonna hurt you, and then hurt you some more, and then hurt you some more." So it kind of works in that thing, but it was odd. It was like, the fire, oh no. Never mind the fact that I'm from a fire planet. Anyway, but it would okay. It was an awkward ending, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. If indeed it's just that's fine. You could think you escaped. You're still on a leash. I guess that works. The other thing about that fight one thing that was really good about it was Ewan McGregor really sold the desperation of Ben. And I was like, whoa, you could just see, like, he was so out of control. It's like, oh my God, like that. You really saw Obi-Wan, as frenetic as we've probably ever seen him. But the thing that was a little disappointing to me was the setting. Like, I get the idea that he's trying to distract Vader. Like, hey, as long as he's chasing me, he's not killing townsfolk. Great. Cool. But then when they got into like, it was basically like night, and there's sand dunes.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know, it was kind of boring. It was just like, really? Like, this is the climactic, this is the epic rematch after 10 years of the two of the central characters in his franchise. And they couldn't come up with like a better setting for that fight. It just felt a little, it almost felt like maybe they had a better setting once, and then they were like, we can't do that. Just make it dunes. I don't know, but like, it seemed a little uninspired. That's all. Like the setting.
The location is boring, not the fight itself.
Right. The fight was fine, and then, and you could see that struggle and the fact that Obi-Wan is way outmatched. But I just felt the setting itself was like.
I thought it was interesting the fact that it was a dark scene. It wasn't lit to be that bright, and that didn't bother me. I thought that was interesting actually.
Right. Plus, there's almost certainly a rematch.
It's sort of like it's like. To get you to specify what would be better, it's like it should have been like, let me attack you. Oh, good thing we're in this palace, or this planet is is on the deep part, but oh, good, here's this lush part that we should fight.
I'm going to open up this hatch, and now we're in this really cool world with mechanical moving parts. Oh my God, I can't get through this. That's how you do it. I'm being silly. I'll say this, though. I think there's very likely a rematch coming, and so there'll be another fight. And Obi-Wan will be more competent, and there'll probably be maybe a different background at that point. So we'll chalk that off and see what happens. Anyway, I just thought, in the moment, I was like, I think I would have chosen a different locale for that. But yeah, Vader killing the villagers to like lure out Obi-Wan more.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah,
it's so evil.
It's funny how evil. That's like people like it's it's interesting that that's what really works for the character. It's sort of like if you look at how in the first in Star Wars Episode 4 and 5 and 6, I feel like it wasn't at the level of Rogue One and. And this, where he's really just, incredibly ruthless, and you're supposed to believe that at the end he's like, now he can be good.
It's so true. We talked about this in the last recap, but that's
and
like,
also
I'm
too,
redeemed
it's
now.
sort of like it's funny. I can't. I want to watch those Clone Wars where he's there with Ahsoka. So I'm tempted to watch that just to see, okay, people really like these episodes, and it's supposed to be before he falls. And so do I get any sense at all of this evil that's inside of him? And, but I can't it's just not my style. I just can't bring myself to watch it. So we're not going to get it here because he's already there,
He's already there.
We might get flashbacks or whatever, but we'll see.
Well, they brought in Hayden Christensen, and sure, he's in one shot here where he's a hallucination. But really, did you need him for that? No. So he's got scenes. They're going to do scenes of, and if he's Anakin, that means there was only so much time between when Anakin turned and Anakin was hacked into bits. So he's going to be pre-Darth Vader Anakin, almost certainly. So maybe we do. Maybe we get some of this, like we see a little bit of that person inside him. We'll see. But yeah, but you're right. What we're seeing now and what we see in Rogue One, for instance, it's just like that dude gets redeemed.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one thing, like, for the people that are trying to kill him, and then he like, oh, they're trying to stop me. Those rebel fighters, they're trying to keep me from getting what they want. Of course, I'll kill them. Right. It's like, okay, you can kind of say that they would have killed you if they could have.
Right, war is hell. Whatever.
Yeah, they possibly could have, maybe under certain circumstances. Maybe he was sick and distracted and suicidal. Then maybe they were a threat. But no, those people are just sitting there on the street, and he's like, I'll make this guy chase himself.
Them.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this. I don't need. You guys are scared of the lightsaber. I don't need that. Like, whoa, yikes. I like the fact that they used James Earl Jones' voice.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it would have been really weird if they hadn't. So good.
Yeah.
we've got this situation now where we see Reva actually has a hologram conversation with Vader, and she blames the death of the Grand Inquisitor on Obi-Wan. Makes sense. Hey, Obi-Wan did it. The fact that she'd be believed, we'll see. But anyway, they're believing her for now. And so Vader then tells her, like, okay, if you bring me Kenobi, then you can be promoted to Grand Inquisitor. But if you fail me, I'll kill you. So the stakes are pretty set there. Although it sounds to me like after this episode, didn't she kind of achieve her goal? Like, she put them in the same place. You were fighting him. It's up to you to do what you want to do with him. Does she now get Grand Inquisitor, or because Kenobi escaped?
They should have somebody doing an analysis of this organization. It's like, I don't know if they're getting their best people. It's like, if you make a mistake, I'll kill you. It's like,
it's true.
He's killing anybody who falls down, and you think, like, why am I joining the Empire? Oh, no wonder all the stormtroopers are bad at shooting. They're probably like, I don't want anybody to promote me, so let me just miss all the time.
Well, there is this thing about, obviously with the Sith, we learned, through Palpatine stuff, that there's this rule of two, where when they don't have big organizations, the Sith don't, because they learn that when you do that, they all try to kill each other. Yeah. Maybe the Inquisitors haven't learned that lesson yet. They're like, they're all squaring off. Intrinsically, it kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, they wouldn't be very good at being a team because they're all dicks. like they all hate each other, and so anyway. So it's an interesting, if that's the way they're going, that they're just showing like, look, these guys, they can't actually be a good team because they're terrible people. Like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Now I'm imagining them all in a circle putting their hands together. Okay, on 5, dicks!
But it does seem like the show has moved on past the Grand Inquisitor's death. Which is like, he's dead. All right, next. And, it's just considering that he's still alive in Filoni's own Rebel show years later. Yeah. It's just, I'm having a hard time squaring that circle of like, have they really just decided, he's actually dead? I mean, it's almost like watching, say, A New Hope, episode 4, and then you watch Phantom Menace, a prequel, and Moff Tarkin dies. And you're like, wait, didn't he die in the Death Star? Am I wrong? And it's kind of a similar little feeling here, where they got a pretty major villain that has this kind of big death scene, and now you're like, no, he died much earlier, and it's just odd. I feel like Occam's razor is, he's dead. We just retconned it. But I'm just wondering if there's some bizarre, convoluted conspiracy going on.
I don't know. I mean, I think
he's faking his death to lure out Reva.
Maybe they're counting him out, or because he's in a bacta tank and he's got to be there for an extra long time.
At this point, given what we've seen now for the 3 episodes, it would be pretty convoluted to be like, I was hiding the whole time. Like, okay. So I almost feel like they just decided, nope, in this story, we're just killing him off. So we'll see. I'm interested to see if and how they end up bringing him back in some way.
Yeah, I just take it on faith that either it doesn't matter, or that, he just comes back. I mean, I feel like Darth Maul, who gets cut in half, and he comes back. And,
he comes
maybe
back.
That's just the esteem that I have for Star Wars. Like, fine.
Or, for instance, we were talking about the bacta tank, Cobb Vanth, right? He gets shot. It looks like he's dead. And then they cut to a little post-credit scene of, he's in the tank. He's fine. Yeah. So maybe that's it. A little post-credit at the end of the season. They just show him in a bacta tank. All right, he's fine. Leia's portrayal, I thought was even better this episode. This is my favorite episode of hers. I think maybe just keep her from
it was interesting.
racing
I think it was
people.
a surprise for me that she was curious if Ben was her father.
I know that question. I mean, there was some very interesting conversations happening there. But that question where she's like, "Yeah, are you my dad?" You're like, "Oh, that's awkward." And he's like, "I wish I was." But like, "Oh, okay, that's weird." But it would completely fracture canon. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but it would be funny if the end of this series features like little Leia squaring off with Vader and then saying like, "No, Anakin, I am your daughter." Like, she probably, oh no, it can't be.
That's impossible.
That's impossible.
No.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true. But yeah, she has some great conversations with Ben, and I think keeping her from racing people helped.
Yes.
And
it worked for me. The whole, you're not going to talk at all, and she's doing all the talking.
Right.
That worked for me.
That works. Her asking about what the Force is like, and he describes it as turning on the lights, and that was all really impactful. I like that conversation. Didn't really think it was believable that Obi-Wan would forget not to call her Leia in that moment.
Really?
They covered it well in his explanation.
I completely buy it. To me, it was just like The Great Escape. Was that guy an idiot?
Maybe. No, I'm just saying. He's like, all right, we got to be real careful. Here's our backstories. You're the thing. Your name is Luma. Well, you're my daughter. Great. And then Leia. And you're like, come on, man.
Yeah, I buy it.
Again, the cover is really cool. The fact that he then obviously he's talking about Padme.
Yes,
brings him back around. So that was all really good. I just thought maybe he may not have made that mistake in that.
I mean, to me, the whole sequence shows that he's not, is smooth. Certainly, there's more than a few of them, so he can't Jedi mind all of them. Yeah, and he's a hermit, and he's kind of half of his strength really. So, and it feels like too, actually, he doesn't, that role that he creates for himself. He doesn't know what it's like to be a farmer, not like she does either. But she's just a little girl. And they established that she's, I guess they could have established him being force sensitive. But hers, it seems to be, her force power seems to be like, socially adept or whatever.
Yeah, great point. She's well adjusted.
I will read you all well.
Yeah. But no, huge reveal. I don't think this is in canon yet. So it doesn't break canon, but it also hasn't been in canon that Obi-Wan apparently has a brother.
Yeah, I believe I heard that they mentioned a brother in some previous parts of earlier drafts of Star Wars or something, and maybe in some of the novelizations or something like that. Yeah. So
there are other Kenobis basically out there.
Yeah,
is the idea.
We'll see if he's Chekhov's brother.
Right, I mentioned him. Speaking of which, there is a character that they did mention, and it's almost certainly he's going to come around, and that's Quinlan Voss. You were talking about Clone Wars. He's in Clone Wars. He works with Obi-Wan quite a bit in that show. So it makes sense that Obi-Wan would know him and be like, "Oh, that guy. He's a Jedi." Powerful Jedi. So the fact that he's obviously survived Order 66 and he's out there somewhere, I could imagine them bringing him around. Oh, here's a question for you. There's the loader droid.
Yeah.
That doesn't talk.
Yes.
Ultimately saves Obi-Wan in a way by pulling him out of the fire or whatever. Rescues him. Yes. Also, there's that. Interestingly, there's the scene when the stormtroopers come in and they're asking, like, "Hey, where's so-and-so?" And you see him reach behind him and he's got a wrench or a hammer in his hand and he's hiding it, like ready to beat the living hell out of these guys if needed.
Yes.
That doesn't seem like a droid to me. I'm just wondering if maybe it's a guy in the disguised. It's kind of a nice setting of like, hey, I'm the type of droid that doesn't talk, so I can't give myself away. Is it a guy hiding in a droid suit? That's all. There you go. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible. It's probably a droid.
Does Tala know that it's a guy in a suit, or is it a secret?
I think she'd have to, right? I think she'd have to.
And why wouldn't that doesn't make any sense to me.
All right.
You know, it's
never
like
mind
why have a guy in a suit?
Yeah, it's probably not. I just, it was the way, it was just so odd. It seemed so human to be like hiding a hammer by like, I don't know. It was just, I don't think I've seen that.
To me,
I don't think I've seen them do
I don't
that
know.
before.
The way that I would say it is like, you must protect, these under whatever circumstances, and he knows. I mean, they have not established concretely exactly what these robots are capable of at all.
But droids do. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And the
do
more you
whatever
see
the
them, the
script
more
does,
human
yeah.
things that they do. So, all right, I take it back. It's a droid. Reva now has Leia. We get the idea that she's trying to impress Vader to become Grand Inquisitor for some purpose. Right. Maybe it's just power, but I feel like there's more to it. And Obi-Wan has just been thoroughly beaten by Vader, and now we'll have to deal with the emotional ramifications of that. There's obviously more story to tell, and I'm interested to see where they go with it.
Yeah, I liked the truck driver there.
Oh, right. Freck.
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't realize that it was done by, Zach Braff. Which is interesting. One of the things about that for me is I listened to the podcast that Zach Braff does with Turk in the show from Scrubs. And that actor is really the Star Wars fan, so it's kind of ironic that it's Zach Braff who is not
that Zach got the role.
As big of a Zach got the role.
That was an interesting take on the subjects of the Empire.
Yes.
Like, hey, I'm a transport guy.
Yeah.
I'm just a grunt who does the stuff, and the Empire is pretty good. Hey, keep order. I like it.
Oh, was it Tala who had said that she was part of the Empire until she realized what they were?
Which makes me think, was she wearing that outfit as a costume, or was she it's more likely that she actually has that role.
It's interesting that she changed clothes, and what she was wearing looked more rebel-y than what she, than the what is it, Imperial outfit.
She was convincing enough as an Imperial officer to be on a truck with a bunch of stormtroopers and then shoot them from behind. So I'm wondering if maybe that's actually her role. Yeah, you're right though. She changed out of it, so it was probably just another disguise. But you could make the case. You could say,
it's
maybe
interesting that
Empire,
they just let anybody come up in those clothes. I guess maybe those clothes are really hard to come by. Like, you're in charge? Okay, we'll just do what you say.
Oh yeah. We'll turn our backs to you and Certainly some excellent scenes in this thing. A few choices that were odd, like for instance, as you mentioned, that ending with the fire somehow keeping Vader at bay, or did it? We'll find out. But yeah, overall, thumbs up, and looking forward to episode 4.
Yeah.
So, thank you as always, Paul.
Sure.
We'll be back talking Star Wars and also Star Trek. So come on back for Strange New Worlds as well. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.